Hi, I'm James Bruce, you're watching MakeUseOf.com reviews, and earlier in the year I had a look at the Blitzwolf SDB2, an ultra budget soundbar available for less than $100 now, so it's even more great value, which I was really impressed by, and that marked the start of a new range of audio devices from Blitzwolf. Now that's a fantastic soundbar. I still use it every day just because it sounds really great. However, at the time I did note that the bass could be lacking in places, and the styling of the device, the black shiny plastic, well, it screamed a little bit too much budget. Well, they've only gone and done it, haven't they? The Blitzwolf SDB2 model features a wireless subwoofer upgrade and comes with this gorgeous metal speaker grille all the way around the main body with wooden accents around the back. It looks fantastic. It's a little bit more pricey at $180 from banggood.com, although that's still bang good value if you ask me. Sorry. Let's take a closer look. From a design standpoint, they've really gone and upped the game here. Instead of the shiny black fingerprint-loving plastic of the SDB1, the SDB2 features this brushed metal speaker grille along the top and front, and around the back you'll find wooden accents. Now this also makes it a lot heavier and a bit larger at 90 centimeters long, 10 centimeters deep and 6 centimeters high, weighing in at 4 kilograms. In addition, the physical rubber buttons that you found on the SDB1 have been replaced by capacitive buttons over on the side here, and instead of a simple LED to tell you what the source is, you now have a full LCD screen readout that tells you the current volume, the EQ setting, and what the source is. At the heart of the device, you've got the same basic speaker tech. It's a 2.1 60-watt soundbar consisting of 8 speakers, which is a pair of tweeters, mid-range, bass, and then sub-bass or low-frequency radiators. You also have mostly the same inputs around the back, which, to refresh your memory, means that you get optical, 3.5mm, coax, as well as a USB slot and, of course, Bluetooth. Now, the one curious difference between the SDB1 and the 2 is that there's no longer an HDMI port. And this might seem a bit of a curious omission for something designed to connect to your TV. However, in reality, I've never used the HDMI port to connect it. I've always used the optical, and I suspect that most people have done that, and that's why it's not really that much of a loss. In its place, however, we now have a wireless connection for a subwoofer, which is definitely a cool upgrade. So this really is a great amount of input variety that you've got there, and it was this versatility that I rated the SDB1 so highly for, and obviously that hasn't changed in this case. You might not always want to have it connected to your TV, you might want to use it elsewhere, and having the option to use lots of different inputs without having to buy extra adapters and such, that's great because it means you can repurpose your soundbar later on if you perhaps upgrade or just want to use it somewhere else. As before, you've also got 4 different EQ settings, smart power off, Bluetooth 4.2, and a handy little remote control. Another aspect of the SDB1 that really impressed me was the volume you could get up to. At maximum volume, it was incredibly loud with no distortion. It still sounded great. And again, that hasn't changed in this one. I mean, it's still basically the same internals, so I wouldn't have expected much to change there. It sounds great. It's not at all a budget sounding device. Obviously, it doesn't sound as good as, say, a $700 soundbar would, but then you wouldn't expect it to. I think that most people will be very happy with the sound coming from this. It's an immense upgrade compared to today's modern TVs that are just so thin, there's no room for decent speakers in there. Now personally, I'm still rocking a ancient HD plasma. Yes, not even 4K. And comparatively, that's a pretty chunky TV, so there's still room for some big chunky speakers in there. But even compared to that, this is definitely an upgrade. So let's talk about the subwoofer, the Blitzwolf SW2, because this is an optional upgrade. It's not included in the $180 package, and this is an additional $160. Setup is incredibly simple. It comes with a wireless audio transmission dongle, which you just pull out the tab on the back of the soundbar, slot in the USB-based transmitter, and then turn this on. It'll work wirelessly. You can also connect multiple subwoofers if you like. Now curiously, around the back of this thing there is in fact a 3.5mm stereo input. However, you can't actually use that to connect it directly to the soundbar, so it's a bit of a mystery as to why it exists at all. But as with the soundbar, it's nice to know that it's there if you ever want to repurpose the subwoofer and add it into a different system perhaps. Now the volume of the subwoofer is automatic and it's linked to the soundbar. Although there's a volume slider on the back of this, I just left it at maximum volume. And to be honest, I wish I had more control over the bass output of the soundbar itself, because at a normal listening volume, or I would call normal anyway, at around 15 out of a maximum 30, the output from the subwoofer it was a little bit underwhelming. Now that's not to say that overall the sound that you got out of the unit was that bad, just that there's already quite a bit of bass coming out of the soundbar itself, and adding in the subwoofer at that volume didn't seem to add much. I could put my hand on top and feel it was working. You could see it's working from the speaker on the bottom. It didn't particularly add to the volume of bass that you were hearing overall. Now above that, moving into the 20 to 30 or maximum volume ranges, it definitely made a difference. You can hear that in the sample that I've recorded now. Now this was done on a Rode video mic, so it's not a fantastic microphone. This is just to give you a comparison of what it's like with the subwoofer on versus with the subwoofer off. Perhaps it's just my preference for more bass compared to most normal people, or perhaps there's some natural variance in the levels that are being transmitted over the wireless transmitter. Who knows? So, should you buy the Blitzwolf SDB2 and SW2 subwoofer upgrade? At a combined cost of around $340, it's not quite the bargain budget basement model that the original SDB1 was. However, you're still going to get better quality sound with that external subwoofer than if you paid the same amount of money for just a soundbar. The fact is, if you do want to have those booming sub-bass frequencies, you really do need a big subwoofer box. That's just physics. You can't cram those sort of frequencies into something so small. And that's true certainly at higher volumes anyway. Your ears might be a bit more sensitive than mine. Personally, I don't think the subwoofer added much for me at the normal volumes that I listen at. However, if you were using it to watch movies a lot at higher volumes, didn't care about waking the kids up, then you would probably get an enormous benefit from the subwoofer unit. And even if you don't buy the subwoofer at first, it's great to have the option to upgrade to one later rather than having to buy it all at once. Now, just the soundbar alone still has decent enough bass output. I don't think you'll be disappointed in any way by the sound quality of the SDB2. However, if you are on a budget and you don't particularly care about looks, then again, I would seriously consider grabbing the older SDB1 model instead. It's super cheap, under $100, ultra budget, basically the same internals, so it sounds just as good, it just doesn't look as good as the newer model. And it doesn't have that option for a wireless subwoofer upgrade at a later date. That said, do seriously consider if you want a soundbar at all, because in the $300, $350 price range, you can easily get a hold of a full 5.1 surround sound budget cinema setup, which includes a subwoofer, 5 satellite speakers, and an amplifier. Now, it will be a lot more complicated to wire up. You won't get the wireless connectivity at that price point. You'll just have wires running all over your living room. However, it will give you a much better cinema-like experience at that sort of budget range. Anyway, I hope this has helped you to make an informed purchasing decision. If it has, please hit like and consider subscribing. We do 2 or 3 giveaways and reviews every week, as well as the occasional tech tips, tricks and tutorials from all of us at makeuseof.com. If you have any comments or other suggestions about our videos, please hit us up in the comments down there and I'll try my best to get back to you. Until next time.